It was very traumatic. It was emotionally abusive. It was very restrictive. I guess I didn't realize how bad it was until I was away from it for a while.
Crystal Hefner, so good to be with you. Thank you for taking the time to be with E Online. Only Say Good Things, your brand new book that is out. Congratulations. I want to start off with my first question. When Hefner was dying, Hugh Hefner, he asked you to only say good things about him, right? And you promised you would. You promised him. Why are you speaking out now, Crystal?
The handful of years after he passed away, I did a lot of therapy and realized that the place affected me more than I thought it did. So I think it was time to tell the truth for my own healing and to hopefully help people caught in the same trap.
If you could summarize and tease for our viewers, how bad did it get inside those walls?
It was pretty bad. It was very traumatic. It was emotionally abusive. It was very restrictive. I guess I didn't realize how bad it was until I was away from it for a while.
Writing this book, how long did it take? How difficult was it? Because you're re-traumatizing yourself.
Yeah. The whole process was about 2 years.
Mm.
During therapy, I started taking tons of notes. I had pages and pages of notes and stories. And the book process itself was about a year. Definitely relived a lot of it, but in writing it, it was also very freeing.
I want to ask you about fat shaming. How did it impact your sense of self while being in that home?
It made me feel like I messed up. It made me feel like, oh, I can do this better. I can be better for him. But thinking back, like that was definitely shaming me. And, it started with that and it went to telling me what to wear, put on something more colorful, wear the flag, which was the bunny logo, and um, what color my nails should be, make sure I don't have any roots growing in. He would, tap me on my body and my hair and just, I just didn't want to slip and I just wanted to be perfect for him. So I just continued to, I don't know,
Yeah.
shove my inner voice down and be small for him.
In what ways did you try to lose weight, Crystal?
The mansion had a gym, so I would go down there. I would not eat. I would just maybe have lunch and then just not eat dinner and then wake up like a little bit thinner and a little bit thinner the next day, like until I got back down to like 120, 118.
It doesn't really feel like you lived in a home. It felt like you lived in a facility. That's at least what it sounded like. No condoms. If anyone caught anything, a doctor was on staff to treat it. Nose doctor, liposuction doctor, a breast doctor for anything that you desired, it sounded like from your
Yeah,
book.
yeah. As you say that, I'm like hearing all the doctors' names in my head. I'm like,
You mentioned an instance where you're all, having movie night. You'd see Hugh Hefner open this piece of tissue and that blue pill would pop out. He'd pop it into his mouth. Your stomach would flip, you said. You said, I knew I would have to perform. Did you
yeah.
did you never feel like you had a way out?
No, I never felt like I had a way out.
What did you feel like was your end game?
As time went on, I feel that shifted and changed. And because I felt so trapped, I think my end game was to finally feel free and happy.
You mentioned looking around, seeing the walls of the mansion and being reminded of the toxic beauty standards that were inflicted on you every single day. How far did you personally go trying to obtain those beauty standards? Did you get surgeries that you didn't need as well? I know you only had lunch and no dinner and were constantly weighing yourself, but how far did you push those beauty standards?
I completely changed everything about myself. There's all types of beauty, but I just stuck to what Hugh Hefner saw as beautiful and just completely lost myself trying to live up to Hef's standards of beauty.
Why do you still have his last name, Crystal?
That's a great question. When we got married, Hef's secretary immediately changed my name for me. So, it all happened so fast and I tried to settle into it. And now, after going through 5 years of therapy and writing the book, the next step is definitely going back to my original last name and finally, like, taking that last step to just be myself.
There was a phrase in the book that you said, and it resonated with me. You said it at the top and then you said it kind of throughout. I was chosen. Take me to the moment in your life where you weren't chosen before your life changed with this experience.
I think that was my whole life before the mansion. My dad passed away at a young age, and my mom and I were completely broke. We had nothing. We just made ourselves small. At one point, we were just in a bedroom in another family's house. So I spent my whole life feeling that everyone was better than me.
Mm.
Um, and finally, I thought, wow, maybe I am special in some way because I have been chosen. And it's really interesting what that feeling does.
Were you ever truly in love with Hugh Hefner despite being his wife?
I loved and cared for him, but I was never in love with him. I think it's hard to try and be in love with someone that wants multiple people in the bedroom and really only cares about themselves and their own needs and wants and doesn't care about yours. So it's hard to really try and be in love with somebody like that.
There's a moment in your book where you speak about getting really close to Jordan McGraw, Dr. Phil's son, and you say that you glowed under his attention and that he made you feel special. You even went to his home where you met Dr. Phil, his father, and they encouraged you to leave Hugh Hefner. And I know later on you guys got pretty close, and he asked you to move in with him, according to your book. At some point, you end up running away in the mansion or from the mansion and to his home. What gave you the audacity, Crystal? What finally allowed you the courage to leave at that moment instead of doing it any time before?
I think back and I didn't really have anyone I could trust. And I went up to talk to Dr. Phil, and I just thought, wow, this is a man that I can trust. And this is a man that everyone trusts on TV. And they put their life's problems with him and he solves them. And so after I spoke to Dr. Phil and he said, oh, you're a 25-year-old woman, you shouldn't be trapped there. I took that newfound confidence. I'm like, I should actually leave. And I did, only later on to find out his son had a crush on me, and some things happened where he said, oh, my son bagged a playmate, and I just thought, oh my goodness, I'm falling into the same trap over and over again. And I think that all comes down to self-worth and self-love, and I didn't have much of it at that time.
There seems to be just unfair treatment that you continue to find yourself in, even shooting the show Girls Next Door, where Hef received, according to your book, he received $400,000 per episode,
Yeah,
and you received
$0.
at that time, at your age. How did that even make sense?
I just felt, wow, I just should just feel lucky to be here. And that's how he made me feel. Like I was just lucky to be there. So I showed up with bells on to film for no money.
What would be your message for someone who is trying to gain a better life and might feel the desperation of going to an extreme that they didn't feel they would ever go to?
I think that the important thing is for someone to know themselves and have their own power. When I was at the mansion, I didn't know who I was. And when you don't know who you are, that could be dictated to you by somebody else. And if that's given to you by someone else, it could also be taken away. So it's very important for you to have your own power, your own voice. And if you're following your own inner compass, I think that it'll be very helpful in life.
It feels like you're in a much different place, a better place.
Yeah, I'm in a much better place. I feel that I will always be a work in progress, but I feel that I finally have true freedom.
Have you found a love, a true love, since your marriage to Hugh Hefner? And has this experience maybe tainted the way in which you do love?
Yeah, it tainted it a bit, and I was having a hard time with dating. I was dating people that were manipulative and controlling, and I'm like, wow, I'm falling into the same stupid traps. But I think as I'm healing, the healing has helped me so much. And now, I am dating somebody who is very much it's such a happy and healthy relationship, and I wish that for everybody.
And you said, taking care of Hef in those final days, I was the strongest and most assertive I had ever been in that home. You protected him into the last moments, Crystal. You didn't have to. Why?
I did. I did. When we were talking about his health care as he was going downhill, like I'm like, I don't want to talk about it in the bedroom just in case he hears. I don't want him to know that he's dying. Like, just talk about it outside of the room. And yeah, I protected him. I wanted him to feel safe and cared for in his, final years and days of his life.
My final question, what is next for you? You just came out with this book, but what is next for Crystal Hefner?
Next, I am just gonna go spend time on my lychee farm in Hawaii and be around nature. I have a few real estate projects happening out there, and so yeah, just living my best life and enjoying enjoying this time.